Greer is just, I didn't know she was, when we first met each other, we started chatting before we were filming, and she was in Vancouver prepping, and I didn't realize she also attends church, and I go to church on Sundays. So before we even started shooting, I invited her to go to church together. So we went and sat in on a church service together, which was really cool.
Welcome to Survive the Shows.
Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment here at Survive the Shows. I'm Desiree, and today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Jason Cermak, star of the great American movie Pencil Me In for Christmas. Join us as we delve into Jason's insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure as always.
Yeah, as always.
Yeah. So talking about Pencil Me In for Christmas, how would you describe your character in this movie in one sentence?
Very, I would say anxious because of past trauma. That's how I would describe him. Yeah.
Okay, great. And what was your initial reaction when you first read the script for Pencil Me In for Christmas?
I think it was relatable to a certain degree. I think we all come up with self-doubt and facing potential failure and having maybe not our best side coming out because of it. When you feel threatened or you're with your back up against the wall, sometimes you can come across as being less easygoing, a little bit more anxious. And I think that's how I was able to relate to Caleb. You know, I can see he's a bit of considered a curmudgeon. He's considered like a Scrooge around Christmas time, but it's just because of the pressure that he's under and he's not even aware that he's doing it. So yeah.
Yeah. And can you walk me through your audition process for this movie? Was anything about it unexpected?
Oh, it was a while ago now that we actually shot this in like 2023, I
Okay.
believe. It was a few years ago. So the audition process, no, I think it was nothing too unexpected. The director, I had known his work from before, and yeah, I just kind of brought as most auditions, I kind of bring myself to the character, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't, right?
Yeah.
So I just did my own interpretation of it, and it seemed to flow. Sometimes when a character resonates with you, it's easy to memorize the lines and it just flows. So that's kind of what happened in this situation too. So I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad they liked what I brought to it.
Amazing. And how did you find the emotional core of this character? Was there a moment in the script that locked it for you?
Yeah. It was really interesting actually, this movie. I understood the sense of loss that he had with his former writing partner and the betrayal that he had. Um, so that sense of loss I kind of tapped into, and the feeling that you're maybe it's got some imposter syndrome, and that you feel like maybe it's the world is proving that you're not good enough. So yeah, I just kind of tapped into that feeling. A lot of actors can relate to that feeling of maybe they're not good enough to make it in this industry, and you feel like an imposter, and you're kind of fighting for your opportunity to hold your own. So yeah, that's kind of what I tapped into there. Yeah.
And what research or preparation did you do to inhabit this role?
Yeah, so he's a illustrator for children's books. So I dove into children's literature again, which is fun for me. I don't know, it's like going back to being a kid, the Dr. Seuss and that sort of thing. But I really, as a kid, pictures really speak to you. Um, and so Greer Grammer's character, Harper, is turns out to be the graphic illustrator. I'm the writer of the book. So just looking at the different techniques they have for children's stories of illustrating, just to try to get in the mindset of how he could potentially critique what would be good and what would be bad. Because as a kid, you just love everything you see, right? So yeah, I just and I have a friend who's a children's book author, but she also does the illustrations. So I kind of called her up as well and asked her input on what she looks for in an illustration and what she wants to convey. So that was really, really useful.
Great. And which scene in the movie presented the biggest acting challenge for you and why?
So this is a interesting story. It's the first scene where my character's introduced, and I'm just walking through the town square, and there's a Santa Claus there wanting money, and I'm talking on the phone, and it's kind of like introduction to my character. Um, it was very, very difficult because earlier that year, my grandmother, who I'm very, very close with, I grew up with her. We were best friends. Um, she fell ill earlier that year, and she wasn't expected to make it. And so I rushed back home, and I was by her side in the seniors' home, and she was kind of fading away, and it was really hard. I would just stay by her bedside and hold her hand, and help feed her and that sort of thing for 2 weeks. And I booked this role while I was there with my grandmother. And I was going to initially decline it because I didn't want to leave her side. But she was kind of proud of the fact that I was doing movies. So she encouraged me to go do it. So 2 weeks after being with her, I went back to start prepping the movie. And right before the movie started filming, she passed away, which really, really broke my heart. But the tough thing was her funeral was scheduled back home, which is about a 2-hour flight for me. And it was in the middle of production, in the middle of shooting. So I asked if I could make arrangements for a day off so I could go attend my grandmother's funeral, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't make it work. So I would have to be replaced in the movie. And my grandmother was really excited for me to do this movie. So I felt conflicted. I wanted to attend her funeral, but she wanted me to do this role too. So what they had arranged, and I'm very thankful for it, is that morning they arranged the schedule so I'd have time off, and they gave me a private area where we were shooting. And my father went to my grandmother's funeral and he live streamed it. So I attended my grandmother's funeral, and then literally a few minutes later was shooting that first scene, and I was just like devastated. So the first time you see my character in the movie, no, I just literally was at my grandmother's funeral and I was dying inside, but I was trying to play this role of this introducing this character. So that was the biggest challenge of this movie for sure.
It was tough.
Yeah, very tough. But I appreciated they made arrangements so that I could, you know. And then after the movie, I made my way back and I spent my time at my grandmother's gravesite and said my goodbyes there. But that was very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand.
Mhm.
And was there a scene you were surprised to find easy or fun to play? What made it click?
Any of the scenes with Greer Grammer, she's so lovely. Uh, it's just fun being with her. There's this one scene where we're making snow angels, and it was a little too warm outside for snow. So they laid down a white sheet and then they put fish ice over it. So it's the ice they use for when you're going fishing. It's a more dense ice, so it's much colder and it doesn't melt as fast, so it's easier to shoot on. So they laid this all on the white tarp, and we're supposed to walk out and then lie on the ground and do these snow angels. So for one thing, if you watch when we walk out, we're making the snowman. This tarp was very slippery, so we're all like slipping underneath. But lying down doing the snow angels, the ice was so cold that we were like almost getting frostbite on our backs. But Greer was just such a good sport that we were laughing the whole time doing it. And so she just made everything so much easier. The baking montage, we're just like putting, like Hallmark always does, or Great American Family, or all these Netflix kind of Christmas shows. They always have the montages. So this montage was particularly fun with Greer.
Yeah, great. And how did you and the director collaborate to shape your character's arc? Were there any major changes from script to screen?
Yeah, Jason was very open to any kind of other ideas. And when we were working out when we were working out his reason for leaving and going after her in the end, that kind of morphed kind of more of his internal journey and a self-acceptance. So he was really open to any kind of like slight revisions to the script to kind of fit the moment, which we really appreciated. And it kind of just made things sink in a little bit better. So, yeah. One of the biggest challenges was time constraints. I think we only had, if I recall, it was 11 days to shoot this whole movie in, which is very tight. Usually it's 14, normally 12. So we had even one less day. So there was a scene where my and Greer Grammer's character are on our first date, and we're overlooking the snowscape, and it was at the end of the day, and we only had moments to shoot this, and everybody just kind of really stepped up and we got it. Um, and that's a high stress situation, and directors can quite often be under a lot of pressure that way and take it out on cast and crew. But Jason was just like so lovely to work with. He just everybody worked together, and we got it, and it turned out pretty good. Yeah.
Amazing. And please tell me more about your chemistry with your co-star. Was there a single rehearsal or off-camera moment that defined your on-screen relationship?
Yeah. Greer is just, I didn't know she was, when we first met each other, we started chatting before we were filming, and she was in Vancouver prepping, and I didn't realize she also attends church, and I go to church on Sundays. So before we even started shooting, I invited her to go to church together. So we went and sat in on a church service together, which was really cool. And she introduced me to one of her favorite bands, the 1974, I think it is. Um, no, I could be getting that wrong. But anyway, we were listening to her favorite band in
Yeah,
between each scene. So she was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this song." And so we were constantly listening to this music, and it would just kind of, it was our thing, like listening to this music before we start a scene, and we'd just be in a good mood going into the scene. So she was just amazing.
great. And were there any improvisations on set that made it into the final cut? Can you give an example if there is?
Improvisation. I think it was yeah, I think she we're having this conversation, and she gives me like soap bubbles for a beard and some on my head. And when I was a little boy, I used to wash the dishes for my mom, and I used to take the suds from that and make a foam beard. So that's kind of how that came into the movie, and they thought it was hilarious, so they kept it in. Yeah.
Okay, great. And the movie balances romantic beats with holiday warmth. How did you approach the tonal shifts so they felt authentic?
Mm. Holiday warmth is just Greer and I both love Christmas. So her character in the movie loves Christmas more than my character. Not that he doesn't love it. He's just he's got a lot of stress, so he doesn't necessarily bring it out.
Yeah,
Um, but that shift was really easy just with the chemistry with Greer because she's just so lovely, and we just had such good camaraderie behind the scenes. So that's what made it easy. It's just all about the co-star, right?
great. Was there a particular wardrobe, prop, or location that helped you get into character? Why that item or place?
Oh, the location. We were filming in a cabin out in the middle of this beautiful farm. I don't know where they found this location, but it's if you watch the movie, it's this like log cabin and it's just magical. So just being there made you feel in the moment. It's my character Caleb's house. Um, and our co-star Brianna Buckmaster, she's a lot of people know her from Supernatural. Uh, she just brought this levity to the set as well. So do you have Kinder Surprise where you're at? Those little eggs, right? So she
Yes.
bought us Kinder Surprise. I think it was around Easter time. So we were playing with our toys in between scenes too, and that really just kind of made it feel like Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great. And how did the production design and setting influence how you played your character?
Well, the like I mentioned that fish ice, lying down in the fish ice, that helped make me feel a little bit more rigid and certain. But yeah, again, the just the location that we had, they did such a good job of like decorating the cabin that I really got a sense of what kind of a taste that my character had. Um, because you kind of get a sense of it when you read the script, but when you see where they actually live, you're like, okay, I get a sense of the fact that he's very strict and stern, but he's got taste for Christmas and he does have a fun side. I really found that in the character because of what they had done on the set.
Great. And did you have any input into the character's backstory or small details that aren't in the script?
Oh no, it's a lot of these movies require you to create the backstory and they're very open to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I took it on myself. The discussion around the relationship with the his ex-writing partner, um, I wanted to get to the bottom of what that truly meant to have a resolution to that. Um, and I fleshed that out with the director with my backstory. And it changed the tone. We actually did a take with the reconciliation scene with the former writing partner, and I ended up giving the guy a hug at the end. It felt right in the moment, but the director's like, no, I don't think that fits. And
Mm,
so we did it the other way. And then I watching it later, I was like, the director was totally right. That wouldn't have been the appropriate thing. Even if my character felt like he wanted to go embrace the guy, that wasn't appropriate. So
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And which scene do you hope audiences will talk about most and why?
Oh, it's tough. Um, I think probably just the scene where we're having dinner together. Probably that was the most connected with Greer. So if there's one takeaway, I think it would be nice if people appreciated that scene where she comes over to my house and I make her dinner and it's our first time really connecting. It was a special one.
Amazing.
And of course, the kiss at the end. Hopefully everyone's talking about the kiss, right?
Yeah, exactly. And how do you personally define the film's central theme? And what do you think it means for people watching during the holidays?
I think it's gratitude and allowing. and being aware of, I think Fred Rogers said it best, always look for the helper. And I think around the holiday season, a lot of people can relate to my character that there's so much to do that they kind of disconnect from the people around them and aren't necessarily aware of the wonderful things going on around them. For example, making dinners, having to decorate the house, having to travel. It's a lot of stress. And you can take that on and not realize the reason why you're doing it is to connect with the people around you. And like my character, not realizing this wonderful person that he has in his life that's come into his life because he's feeling the stress of having to get this book out. And blocks from his past also stopping him from seeing until the bitter end that this wonderful person was somebody in his life that he actually needed to open himself up to and stop and smell the roses, so to speak. So I think that's the theme that would resonate in the holidays for everybody.
Amazing. And how did you manage emotional scenes? Any rituals you used between takes to stay present or decompress?
Oh, well, the music. Yeah, when we were listening to the music in between takes, um, that was the key because it was quite long shoot days and it was pretty cold out there. So yeah, and just having fun with Greer in between the scenes was just wonderful. Yeah.
Great. How did working on this project compare to other holiday or romantic movies you have done? Similar or different?
Different in the sense the shooting schedule was shorter
Yeah,
than normal, so that put some pressure on it. And the cast was smaller than normal. So a lot of the heavy lifting, so to speak, was on Greer and myself and Brianna. Um, so that's the biggest way that it differed. Just the fun of being on a holiday movie, though, on a Christmas movie is what carried through. I just love Christmas myself, so being on a Christmas movie was just, I don't know, I get giddy being able to be a part of it, you know? I used to
yeah,
watch Christmas movies as a kid and I always dreamed of being in them. So now being in them is just like the best feeling ever. Yeah.
yeah, great. And what was the most surprising lesson you learned from the cast or crew while making this movie?
I think the value of gratitude. So yeah, just the cast and crew, we were shooting the long days and we were kind of in a remote location. So I had made plans to get a portable coffee barista out one day to give like specialty coffees to the crew as a thank you. And just the appreciation for a little gesture like that, just means a lot to a lot of these crew members that are going from one set to the next to the next to the next. So that was the lesson is just to me just realizing just how hard everybody works so often around the clock for these productions. Yeah.
Great. And how do you think this movie fits into the current landscape of holiday movies? Does it subvert a trope or lean into tradition?
I think this one, yeah, is not necessarily as into tradition as all of the other holiday movies, but hopefully it fits into the landscape of just bringing joy, one of those movies that people wanting to feel that magic of the holiday would be able to throw this on. And the beautiful thing about these movies is you can turn them on with your grandparents or your kids, and it's going to be a safe story that's everyone can either put their undivided attention on, or they could be baking and have it on in the background. It's that fixture. We're part of the decoration of the holiday. So
Yeah, exactly. And which bit or moment in the movie do you think best represents your character's growth?
I well, it's the moment with reconciliation with his writing partner and realizing just how unforgiveness has started to taint his relationships with everyone around him. So I think that that beat of having that conversation with him was the most profound.
Great. And music can make or break a holiday moment. Were you involved in any discussions about a soundtrack or song choices? Any?
No, not at all. But
No.
it was a good one. I enjoyed what they did with it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Any favorites they choose?
Like music wise?
Yeah.
No, nothing particularly, just the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, great. And how do you hope fans will respond to your character? What do you want them to feel or think after the credits roll?
Um, I hope they like him, obviously. At the
Yeah,
start, he's supposed to be unlikable. So, but in a likable way, unlikable in a likable way, if that makes sense. You're like, oh,
yeah,
that guy's got a problem, but I don't hate him, but I would like to see him get a resolution to whatever is going on inside of him. So I think that would be the biggest takeaway. Hopefully they'll feel like, it's the Scrooge story where you dislike him, but you don't, and then at the end you're glad he came around. I think that's the similar sentiment I hope they take away.
yeah. And looking back, which early career experience prepared you most for handling a lead role in a holiday movie?
Well, I'd done a lead before for Hallmark with Jen Lilly. It was kind of a dog centric. I was a dog trainer, and it was with Lee Majors and Lindsay Wagner years ago. So having done a lead before, I kind of knew what to expect. So yeah.
Amazing. And what roles or genres do you still want to explore that you haven't yet? Is there a dream part on your list?
I love sci-fi. So I would love to do a Star Trek or Star Wars or something like that. Definitely. And I have this dream of being at the San Diego Comic-Con. I would just love to be on a panel with a bunch of fans. That would be a dream. So hopefully I'll get to explore that at some point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how do you choose scripts now? What elements make you say yes right away?
Because I'm a person of faith and I do attend church and that sort of thing. If it's a wholesome story, that's what really resonates with me. Anything that's got like a good message that I feel good about putting out into the world. Yeah, there's so much negativity out there now, so I don't really want to be contributing to more negative feelings in the world if I can be a part of something that makes people feel good. That's what I'm looking for.
That's amazing. So, the last question, as usually for me,
Mhm.
what upcoming projects can you share with us?
Not a lot. It's been a strange time in the industry. I had the slowest year of my career last year. Um, Lots of shifts in the industry with where they're filming, production budgets being cut. A lot of streaming services weren't filming as much. A lot of really established actors doing smaller parts, so smaller actors doing no parts, that sort of thing. So there's a I did a guest star on a project called Blue Skies on for the Up Network. So that's coming up, where I play the bad guy in the movie or in the TV series. It's a guest star um, with my co-star Chelsea Hobbs. So Blue
Hmm,
Skies, check that one out. It's coming out, probably releasing mid next year.
okay, great.
If you want to see me play a bad guy.
Yeah. Is it for Canadian or for US audience?
It'll be US. Yeah, it's
US
on the Up Network is the one that produced it. So
network.
I think
Okay.
they're quite new. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Great. So this is it. Make sure all of you to coach, pencil me in for Christmas this Sunday night on Great American Family. And thank you, Jason, to join us today.
Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. And it's always a pleasure. And thank you all for watching. Bye.
Bye.